Hi, I know it's been a while, but we're going to do a chemistry video on ions and ionic formulas. Okay, so how do ions form? Okay, so I've numbered these out for you. First of all, for ions, they lose electrons is one way, and when an atom loses an electron, a valence electron, it loses a negative charge and becomes a positive. So we always say in class, if you lose something negative, that's the electron's charge, then you always become a much more positive person. Okay. The other thing is, on the other side of it, atoms can gain electrons. When an atom gains an electron, it gains a negative charge and becomes a negative ion. Okay, this is important because this is the opposites attract. Okay, this is attraction. So the one that loses is positive, the one that gains becomes more negative. The attraction between two oppositely charged ions is called an ionic bond. The substance formed is called an ionic compound. Okay, so when they're bonded together, now it's a compound, when there's two or more atoms bonded together. How are the chemical formulas written? It is written in a combination of 1 with symbol of an element or elements. First of all. 2, the ratio of an element is, just zoom this in more for you, is in a compound. The ratio, I mean here, for example, is for sodium chloride, this is the symbol for sodium and this is the symbol for chloride. So first I'll show you those symbols. And then how many of each element. So in this case, since there isn't a number, that is understood to be a 1-to-1 ratio. You never write the number ones. But here's a formula where we are writing a number. So for example, the formula for water is H2O. So for this ratio, there's 2 hydrogens. The number is right next to the hydrogen with 1 oxygen. Again, we don't write the number 1. Now for yourself, how would you write this without being given those formulas? To write a formula for an ionic compound, first write the symbol of the positive ion. Those are always the metals. The metals are going to be positive. 2. Then put the symbol of the negative ion. Those are generally the nonmetals, the opposite side. So this would be, let me put these next to each other. This would be the left side of the periodic table, the metals, and this would be the right side of the periodic table, where it's the nonmetals. After you have that in order, add the subscript then that are needed to balance the charges. Now let's go back to that example here. So for instance, notice here for the sodium chloride, sodium is the metal, that's on the left side, and chlorine is the nonmetal, that's on the right side of the periodic table. So it's the order you always put it in: metal first, nonmetal. So then you have your positive and then your negative ion. Okay, the last thing to tell you is a long list. Get ready, you're going to do some bullets. Properties of ionic compounds. Some properties of when they're bonded is that they become hard, brittle crystals. They have high melting points in general. And when you dissolve these in water or you melt them, they can conduct electricity, electrical current. The attraction between ions is very strong, and so therefore when you try to break the bond, it takes a lot of energy. That's why we had to electrocute that in class to break that bond in the salt water. And ionic compounds dissolve in water, they become ions again. So when you do mix them in the water, you can break and you have that ionic charge. That's why it's very, very good in with electrical currents. Okay, thank you so much. Next time in your video will be on covalent bonds, and I hope that you did well in that. If you did need any help, please ask in class and I'll be glad to help you.